Everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Motion to approve.
All right, any discussion? All right, we're gonna, I guess we'll, I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, I
He,
made the motion.
he motioned and Matt second. Now if I can get, get my deal down here. All right. Passes unanimously with Huebner and K-9 absent. All right. Item 4, subdivision plat. Consideration of an action on Great Wood Lake Section 2A preliminary plat. Lauren?
Yes, and I'll give you all just a minute to open your plats. Okay, so tonight we have the preliminary plat for Greatwood Lake Section 2A, consisting of approximately 27.6 acres in the city's ETJ. It consists of 76 lots, 3 blocks, and 4 reserves, with access via Massac Road and Greatwood Lake Section 1 that was previously platted several years ago. And we are here with this preliminary plat because the original preliminary plat for Section 2A has now expired as of last month of 2019. The commission did review this preliminary plat for Section 2A in February of 2018 and approved it then, but it has since expired and met the one-year expiration date. So we're here, that's why we're here for this preliminary plat to be reviewed this evening. So the general land plan, excuse me, this is our area here, Section 2A. And this is the proposed preliminary plat before you this evening. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Staff recommends approval of the proposed Section 2A preliminary plat.
Do we have any comments on this? Hold on a minute, hold on. Okay, Matt.
I've got a few questions. Hopefully they're easy. Up near the top line of Lot 12, there's a designation for letter of map revision fill, and it references a FEMA document. What is that?
Guillermo Salcedo, Engineering Department. What happened with the lawnmower, they had to apply because some of the section of the area on the northeast corner, it was on the floodplain, so they had to come up and lift, put some fill there, so get those houses out of the floodplain.
So that's just reflecting that that's been filled?
That's correct.
Okay. And what is the FEMA document that's referenced? Is it just,
It is.
is it authorizing that? Is it certifying it? What's the purpose of that?
That's part of the records that they have for that. They apply and they got approved for that. So they,
Okay.
Yeah.
The Lomer
Okay.
F, that is a document that's approved. That's done because you don't have the floodplain map says it's in the floodplains.
And the
You
fill
go-
means
You
now
go through
it's-
this Lomer process, and
To
then
get it out of the
someday
flood.
when it gets approved, then someday FEMA will update their maps, and that'll get put on there as it's out of the floodplain.
Right, but the purpose of the document, it's reflecting that it's been filled.
Correct.
Okay, I got that. The other question, maybe stupid, Lauren, thank you very much, maybe dumb, but I noticed that there are a lot of places, and I can point out a few examples, where it seems like this calls out a 20-foot building, 25-foot building line, and then in places that narrows to 20. And I just want to make sure that's intentional everywhere that it occurs. So, for example, if you're looking in Block 3, if you start at Lot 12 through 16, you see that it's got a 25-foot building line, and then when you get to Lot 17, it goes to 20. and then it looks, is that just that lot?
Right, because it's on the cul-de-sac.
Not
So-
really, Matt.
All right, hold on.
It really, the 20 starts at 15. They need to add some more.
So the reason, though, which was his question, is that
know.
it's because it's a cul-de-sac. So you transition from the 25-foot build line on a typical, perpendicular to the street, and then when it moves into the cul-de-sac, you can utilize a 20-foot smaller build line.
Okay, and I just wanted to make sure, because to the untrained eye, you can't really, it doesn't look any different.
Sure.
It looks exactly like the 25-foot line.
But we can have them also add more labels, too.
They
Commissioner
need,
Stevens'
they
point.
need to put, because I've had the same question, and I know what it's supposed to be.
Okay,
Because you start with a 25 when it's straight, and when you get into the cul-de-sacs, the bubble, they allow you a 20, and in some parts of a lot, some of it would be 25. If you look at lot 26 in block 1 there, you see it back down here, it says 25-foot building, then you don't see a 20-foot building line to lot 24. Actually, the 20-foot building line is in part of lot 26. It starts in 26 when they start on the curve.
right.
And that's what they got, that's why they need to label it, because you can't, you're absolutely correct. You don't know where it starts and stops almost.
Yeah, so maybe some clarity on that would be helpful.
And that's throughout the plat in every cul-de-sac that's got that, Lauren.
All right, that's all I had, thank you.
Dan, you got any questions? Lauren, I'm confused on this. I know it's Greatwood Lake Section 1 in the detention area, but some of it is in this plat, the drainage easement part. But what is this access easement that's inside this drainage easement? That, I don't know where it starts and stops, and is it part of the, does it get over in this plat? You see access easement down at the bottom of the?
Yes, yes, I see that.
Why do you have an access easement if you got a drainage easement?
Yep, no problem. I'm going to wait for Stan to come up and address that.
That's on that's on the recorded plat of that section.
Yes.
Right.
Good evening, I'm Stan Winter with Jones Carter. The access easement was recorded with Section 1. It runs around the perimeter of the detention pond that was constructed, and it is, the line for the access easement is coterminous with the boundary of the Section 2A plat. We're showing it on the preliminary plat because it's an existing easement within 200 feet of our plat boundary, but that access easement does not encroach or come into any part of the Section 2A plat.
Well, I don't know, Stan. Where's your lines, where you got, it's hard to tell.
Yes, it is
On those,
confusing.
I don't necessarily, I don't agree with you.
Well, there,
Because your access, all you got these two arrows that point to, it's the only way I picked it up. But when you, there's got to be a bottom and a top. So where's the bottom line is in the detention pond of the access easement. So where's the boundary going whichever direction toward those lots of the access easement? Stop.
the access easement follows the boundary of the plat and then continues south. But then there's also the access easement is over the top of the drainage easement that was established in 2008, and a portion of that drainage easement encroaches into the backs of lots
Yeah, I know.
18 through 21. And so
But I don't understand why you got the access easement and a drainage easement on top of each other. The drainage easement gives whoever's going to do it the right to get in there.
yes, the drainage easement was created for that purpose.
But why the access easement? It's a little late, it's already on the
It was
plat.
a request when we did section 1 to provide that access easement around the detention pond.
I don't understand it. It doesn't matter, it's not part, all I want to make sure of, and I can't tell from these lines, is that access easement, where's the, I don't know, where am I at here? The western boundary of it, looking at that detention pond in that area. You're saying that it's at the back of the lots.
Yes, the plat boundary is
but
the
it- but
western
you
boundary
can't-
of the access
you can't-
easement.
And it's, the way you got your arrows on the access easement, it's not clear, but then the drainage easement, you do have it going into the, encroaching.
Correct.
Into the lots, so it's confusing as a lot of the other stuff in this plats. All right. And for clarification, Stan, I'm confused. When we get up here on Rab's Bayou, you got some recording stuff that's got a 200-foot wide easement called there. Yet there's another line that calls for a 350-foot Rab's Bayou width.
Yes.
So, but that hasn't been
No,
converted to a drainage easement.
that's correct. It has not yet been converted to a drainage easement. The width was, I guess, established with the drainage district as the width that they needed for Rab's Bayou, and so we have shown it on this plat as the reserve boundary, but the 200 feet is the old drainage easement.
I understand, so that'll all get straightened out on the final plat,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
Like we discussed at a prior meeting.
yes, sir.
And I'm glad to see from the previous that you added Reserve D and it's not part of Reserve A anymore.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else got any other questions?
Do you need a motion?
Need a motion?
Do we need to stipulate contingent upon clearly labeling the building line width?
Yeah,
We
that's,
will do that.
that's a given. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion by Simeon and a second by Landine for approval of the Great Wood Lake Section 2A preliminary plat. What's next? Okay, now consideration of an action on Hagerson Road Street Dedication Phase 1 Final Plat. Lauren, you got,
Commissioner,
huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ready to go. If I can get this arrow to. Can never get the, there we go. I'm hitting it, but it won't, there it is. All right. Pass unanimously. Okay, now we're ready? Consideration of action, on Hagerson Road Street Dedication Final, Phase 1 Final Plat.
yes.
Lauren?
Yes. So we are here for a final street dedication plat for approximately 2.5 acres located along the boundary of the city of Sugar Land and Missouri City's ETJs in one of the southernmost portions of Riverstone. This area, this portion of the road and the landscape easement was not formally platted with the adjacent Riverstone subdivision, and so now we're here to formally final plat the roadway to serve some future development in the Missouri City ETJ. So this will finish out platting of Riverstone, City of Sugar Land ETJ Riverstone roadways. So an excerpt from the Riverstone General Land Plan. We're down here at the southernmost border, and this is the area where we are final platting this evening. So the preliminary plat came before the commission last year and was approved. And this evening, we've got the proposed final plat in the same layout. And so with that, staff would recommend approval of proposed Hagerson Road Phase 1 street dedication final plat with conditions to remove master notes with NA designation and update master note number 4. And be happy to answer any questions.
Do I have any questions? Start down there. Start on.
I have a question. Lauren, on number 11 in the master, on the general notes, sidewalks shall be constructed as required by Section 7-8 of the design compliance. There is no Section 8. The design is under Section 6 in the code. Is that correct?
7.8 of the design standards, I believe that's still accurate. We go through and check these master notes
Okay,
against our codes.
All right, I didn't find it in the code, but I didn't,
In the design standards or the development code? Because there's,
okay, is that
yeah,
different?
they're two
Okay.
separate, right?
Okay,
So,
I was looking
yeah.
in development.
Oh, yes, the design standards are found on the engineering department's webpage. That's their
Okay.
document that they own.
All
So
right.
Probably that's where the confusion
Thank
is.
you.
Yep, no problem.
Matt?
Yeah, a couple of minor things. On sheet 1 of 2, for the execution for Hillsborough Estates LLC. So in the very top line, it says, in testimony whereof Hillsborough Estates LLC, do you see that?
Yes.
And then down in the next block, under where it says State of Texas, County of Fort Bend, it just says Hillsborough LLC.
Oh, it's missing estates.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
So you might want to fix that. And then also, I don't know if it matters here, but like on the legend under Phase 1, it just says Hillsborough Estates, not LLC. I don't know if that's important or not. And then I think the comment's been made before, but if they're gonna, the address is a Houston address, so they'll need to come and execute here in Fort Bend, which I assume they'll do.
Right, yeah.
Okay. That's all I had, thank you.
Okay.
Dan?
I have a couple of questions on page 1. First of all, I think we can take off the scale, right? The 1 inch equals 60 wouldn't apply on this sheet, so that can probably go away in the title block. And then over on the left-hand side, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph, in testimony whereof, so forth and so on. It says F.W. Reichart III, its vice president. In this whole column of paragraphs, the its isn't used. That isn't used until they get over here to the Hillsborough Estates, so I would suggest that could be deleted. And then in the last paragraph for the notary public, on the second to the last line, it says, and as this act and deed of said, shouldn't that say Texas Corporation instead of limited liability company?
I'm sorry, you lost me on where you were on that one. I was
The
where?
very last paragraph, lower left, for the notary public, the very last, the second to the last line, and as the act and deed of said, on this column, it's referring to the Texas Corporation. It's over in the middle of the page that they refer to the
Oh, I see
limited
what you're
liability, okay, company. And then the question I have has to do with these aerial easements. I get that, this is just for my education. I get that, you know, we have a ground easement, then we have 16 feet, and we have an aerial easement. And I get that some of them are devised to be 21.6, and others are devised to be 30 feet wide in the air, right? That's what all this language adds up to. My question is, on the ones that are 21-6, how do you determine which side of the ground easement that they extend over? Does it always go toward the property? Does it go, it does? It goes,
Those are standard.
I understand,
worked
but
out with
like I said,
center
this
point
is
and all that
education.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it goes towards the property and the others go both ways.
Yeah, if you're back to back.
Right.
Lots.
Right,
then you
right.
split, But if it's
Okay,
one,
okay,
if it's
okay.
back,
Then it
the whole
goes-
thing
right,
goes
so-
into the.
It takes up the
into
whole
the
area,
lot.
yeah. Right.
Okay, that's all I had. I don't think I had anything on sheet 2. That's all I had, Paul.
You asked? All right, on sheet 1, Mark, you probably need to change the county engineer.
Yes, we'll
With all due respect, I
look into that.
think there's a new sheriff in town on that deal.
I missed that.
And I just, I guess maybe when this was done, the planner says Carey Gilbert and Associates, Inc., which I'm not sure that even exists anymore, and I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but just for Grimm's. On note 26, this driveway requirement for location width, blah, blah, blah. I assume that means that there's no driveways that'll be accessing Hagerson Road from the back of any of these lots.
That is correct.
All right. And I think, I vaguely remember this plat, and I don't know if I ever got answers or what, but I'm confused. You got a call out here, a call of 1.63 acres, Fort Bend Lid, number 15, blah, 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 blah. It starts, looks like at a triangle and goes to a deal, and it just stops at the end of this plat. So if this road's going to continue on, how's that, what is that? And down below, there's a levee easement, and, you know, I don't know, and it goes into nothing, it goes to triangles, and the road looks to me like getting over the levee. I'm not, what's going on here, Mark?
Can you start again, Carl? I wasn't looking at the map when you talked.
All right, start with this call, you got a call point 1634 acres. And that looks like it starts at a nothing and it goes out, so it makes a triangle, but it just stops. I assume it stops at the plat boundary. So what is that, and did it continue on, or was it abandoned, or what?
Mark Armstrong with Costello Engineering. This, Carl, was the interim levee that was in here. This is where the hump in Hagerson Road was. On that side, that was land that was taken for the extra right-of-way of Hagerson.
No, were you talking about the point 1634?
Yes, yes, sir.
For extra right-of-way for Hagerson?
It was for the,
Oh, is there this Hagerson, I'm confused. Is there already some Hagerson Road right-of-way down here on this stuff?
to the west?
To the west of this plat boundary?
Yes, sir, there is.
That's a road?
That's a road.
Is it a paved road, or is it, platted?
No, no. That is the ETJ line, Sugar Land, Missouri City. We have a plat with Missouri City now to continue the Hagerson Road to the west.
To the west.
Yes, sir.
So does that levee easement or levee whatever going to go away, or is that just land they own?
We're talking about the .1634 acres.
Yeah.
That will be platted within the Hagerson Road.
So the lid will join into plat?
Correct, sir.
All right. And so what is this, let's go and drop down to the levee easement that looks like it's only south of this Hagerson Road right-of-way. What is that? Huh?
That is correct.
What kind of easement is that?
Where, do you see the Sweetbriar Bridgestone Section 4, Carl? There's a lot 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, I'll ask that question in a minute, but go ahead, yeah.
Okay, that is where the interim levee used to cross Hagerson Road. So
You keep saying interim levy, so there'd been 2 levees down here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, why don't they just tear it out and
It's
spread it?
gone. It is gone, but the widenings for that levee crossing Hagerson are still exist.
Why don't they do away with them?
I don't know.
All right.
I mean, there's-
Probably take an act of Congress, so I'll not.
Okay,
All right, I just didn't, I couldn't understand this stuff just stopping and starting
right, right.
in this plat, okay? Now, it's not within the plat boundary, but it's on this, it's on this page. You've got Sweetbriar at Riverstone, Section 4, plat number, and that's 2 lots.
Correct.
And then you got Sweetbriar, Section 2, which starts, I'll come back to those, but you got that, and you go down here, you go down to 8 lot 8, right?
Correct.
Then you jump across the street, I assume that's part of that plat.
Yes, sir.
You got the same lot number.
You have the same lot number?
Lot. If this was going 8 and then jumping across and going, should be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, looked to me like there ought to be 16 lots in there.
I mean, it's separated by the right of way, Carl, that's a different lot.
All right, where does it start with 1 at? Is behind those lots? I'm confused. It just looks funny to me. I was just trying to,
I'm trying to figure out where you are starting your 1 at. Are you talking about on the east side of Sweet Hill, or are you talking about?
I'm on
You got 2 lot 1s.
Parkwater Cove Court.
Okay, where it says Sweetbriar, Riverstone, Section 4, there's a lot 1 and 2 there.
How did that happen?
That is where the levee used to cross Hagerson Road. And so that land was left unplatted until 2 was in the ground and 3 was in the ground.
All right, then you start with Section 2, and you got
Lot 1 right there.
1, and you went to 8. Is that all that's in Section 2?
Is that all?
Is that all the lots in Section?
No, sir. No, sir. Everything to the east and south of Hagerson that you're looking at is Sweetbriar Section 2. So it's on both sides of Parkwater.
And does it go further
Yes, sir. So
south?
south.
So there's lots back, so this duplicate, looks like a duplication of Lot 8 is really in a block that starts
I
with,
see what you're saying. Yeah,
starts with Lot 1 back here that's not shown.
correct.
Okay,
Because this land wasn't platted in that northwest corner of the cul-de-sac.
all right, it just looked,
I understand what you're saying, but,
Funny.
there was a gap there, so it's not the same block.
well, it's in Missouri City, so that probably answers that. Why are Hagerson Road, you got right-of-way varies, and you, coming up to this, you've only got a 60-foot Hagerson right-of-way that's in the plat,
Right.
but you've got, I don't know, 70 feet of right-of-way that we're platting, or more,
Correct.
within that, which I don't understand. What's this Reliant Energy HL&P deal, and you're calling it a landscape easement?
Right.
There's not any power lines or anything in that?
There are transmission towers in there,
So why are you calling it a landscape
because
easement?
they just recorded a landscape easement in it. We're not dedicating that by the plat, that was just recorded by the developer. And the purpose of that, Carl, is because the development to the west of this that Hagerson is serving, they want to be able to connect the sidewalks back over to the Riverstone system.
But CenterPoint or HL&P or whoever?
That's not my issue, Carl, and when I asked the developer about that, they said that's not my issue either. It was done for the benefit of the developer to the west. So that's their fight, not mine.
I want you to call me when they got that all landscaped and the sidewalks in that power easement.
You got it, sir.
And you and I both will go look at it together because it won't be there.
I agree.
All right, thank you. All right. God, this was a mess. Did you screw this up, Mark?
Not yet, I don't think. I think I've answered most of them.
Okay. That Billy was all clarification. There really nothing to change, I don't think.
Well, there's a lot of stuff on the title block.
Right, that stuff, but anyhow, okay. All right, so where we, anybody else got any comments? Do we know what all needs to be changed, Lauren? You got, it's all over on page 1, I think, isn't it? All right. So we're ready for a motion? All right, I'll entertain a motion for Hagerson Road Street dedication, Phase 1 final plat.
Motion to approve with the adjustments, removing master notes with NA, updating master note 4, and the typo corrections on page 1.
And all of it on the dedicatory. Do I have a second? All right. Have a motion and a second. Huh? Who's second? Matt? I did. Okay. No other further discussion. We're ready to vote?
I gotta close this.
Huh? You want to vote? All right, where we at? All right, reports. Planning and Zoning Commission liaison report for meeting February the 19th. I don't know who.
So I drew the 2 February meetings. The February 19th meeting was relatively uneventful compared with the meeting 2 weeks before. A large discussion and something that should be a concern for all citizens of Sugar Land is the new requirements around water use, and the city council will be addressing those. That was the first of workshops that were held. But if you're not a water engineer, it gets a little dry. You don't like that? The council meeting on the 26th was a workshop that dealt with part 2 of the public works and water presentation, and a motion for the city to look to insource their exterior landscaping along the easements and right-of-ways throughout the city of Houston where they can't get contractors to perform to the Sugar Land way. And council will be taking that up in their, what do they call that, their retreat, their workshops here going forward. But relatively uneventful for the 2 meetings.
All right. Who was March 5th? Okay.
My details are a little more. So Steve Porter gave the invocation, led the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they had some recognitions at the meeting. Mayor Zimmerman, at the request of a nomination from Carol McCutcheon, recognized Sonal Bukhar with a very well-deserved award for outstanding achievement in our community. If you were there, family and friends came to see that. Also, Boy Scout Troop 316 from Sugar Land was recognized, and the little boys stood up and tried to remember their names and what they were working on. They're really cute. No public comments. City council members did not discuss routine consent agenda items, with one exception of an amendment to development participation agreement between the City of Sugar Land and Fort Bend County Levy Improvement District Number 2 for storm sewer outfall improvements, which was discussed. Discussion of an action of the following items: approval to hire Half Associates on a professional service contract to design a drainage improvement project in Settlers Park. And this one was cool because he was there. The approval to cancel the District 3 City Council race, declaring an unopposed candidate in the May 4th election. Stuart Jacobson will be our next representative city council person for that district. And then Catherine Ketchum presented a review of changes to the Animal Services Code. Katie Clayton presented a review of the Integrated Water Resource Plan, which you were talking about earlier, which was interesting, but a little bit dry, but it was important. And very interesting report from Police Chief Eric Robbins. He discussed and gave us an informative review of the City of Sugar Land Police Department fiscal year 2018 annual report. And if you have a chance, look it up because it's got some really good stuff on it about what our city's been doing. We are experiencing the lowest crime rate in history. So then we had the city manager's report, and the meeting was adjourned.
All right. Staff report?
Very brief, your next meeting will be Thursday, March 28th. Right now, looks like we've got one plat that's ready at this time, so that's all we have.
Thanks, Doug. All right,
To adjourn.
got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.